to welcome Jon Rahm into the interview room. He's making his 6th start at the Sentry Tournament of Champions with 2 runner-up finishes. Jon, welcome back to Kapalua. If we can get some comments on being here.
Oh, it's always great to be back. You just mentioned it. I've had some success here in the past, and highlighted by the battle I had with Cam last year on the final round. I mean, those scores were pretty incredible. The 3 lowest scores ever on PGA Tour events were out here. So hoping to have another good show on this year and start the year off with on a positive note.
How have your holidays been? And just talk a little bit about getting started here.
It's been great. The 2 kiddos has been a lot of fun. Kept kind of getting an idea of what Christmas is and doing some of the fun things. So it was really cool to see it through his eyes a little bit, and have the family time and the time off that we all needed. So in that sense, rested, came here a little early, enjoyed the islands of Hawaii, enjoyed Maui quite a bit for a few days before we got here to Kapalua this week and started work again.
All right, awesome. We'll start with questions. Yep, Daniel.
What constitutes a good year for you? Because I know you said last year you were proud of your year last year.
Yeah. It's hard to say. I set my goals every year, right? And listen, I'm pretty ambitious, so I'm not always gonna accomplish everything I set my mind out to. But in this sport, if not winning as much you would take it as a bad year. It can be tough in a sport where the most accomplished athlete of all time won 30% of the time, right? That being Tiger. So it's a little bit subjective, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of things you can do well as an athlete and as a player to consider a positive year. Obviously, you want to win events. That's there. And the only thing I didn't do last year that I wish I would have done is compete better in majors and give myself a better chance. So obviously that being a goal this year, hopefully get number 2 and give Spain another major.
And then when you look back at last year's battle with Cam and you said all those low scores, is that the best you've ever played without winning a tournament?
It's the lowest I've ever shot without winning a tournament, that's for sure. I think last year was unique because we didn't have as much wind as we usually have here, which is the defense of this golf course. And then it was softer than in the past, so you had to be that aggressive. And it's hard to say because I've had weeks where I've played really, really well, but obviously I didn't shoot that low. So, but because of the score, I'm gonna have to say yes. It's definitely it doesn't happen. Doesn't happen where you go that low and not win.
Okay. All right, Doug.
You played well last year. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay, so if you look at 21. Where you won at Torrey and could have won at St. George's, and I think you topped 10 in all 4 majors, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And then this year you didn't really. I don't think you finished top 10 in any of them. How do you explain that, or can you explain that?
I was close at the U.S. Open. I was 1 back. I just had a bad final round. I don't think there's a way to explain it. For people that may not believe it, I battled my swing most of the year. I wasn't as comfortable as I was the year prior, and that showed. And then when you go to major championship golf where you need to be better in every single way, those mistakes are going to show.
When did the fight begin with your swing?
I don't know. I really don't know, but it just didn't feel as it just didn't feel as smooth as I would have liked. I mean, I still had an abundance of top 10s. I think I was close to 50% of the tournaments I teed it up on. I ended up in the top 10, which is not bad. I just didn't. This year, I didn't give myself the chance to win as often as I would have liked. And
last year.
Sorry, this past season, yeah. But I did in the fall, right? It seems like in the fall, things got going a little bit better. I felt like for the most part, I was playing better than scores were showing. And maybe once the PGA Tour season was over, took some time off and reset, and that's why I played good in the fall. But
I guess. In looking back, was there a time that it felt like your swing wasn't where it wanted, that it was becoming a grind to make it feel comfortable? Because early on, I think everyone was talking about your putting. I'm
never too far off, honestly. With the swing mechanics I have, it's never a big change. That's why I can be consistent. And yeah, well, everybody was talking about my putting because I could still hit fairways and greens, but nobody talked about how my proximity to the hole was much higher than it was in the past. Right, therefore, I'm not going to make as many putts. Therefore, my putting stats are going to be bad. That's why I kept saying a lot of times that my putting felt good. I just didn't give myself the best chances.
Okay. Yep. Let's go back.
Jon, switching gears a little bit, can you talk a little bit about what it means to you to be back here on Maui and why you get so excited to come back here?
All right. Back to Dan.
With all the chaos of the last year, kind of in the rearview mirror, do you feel like this year, arriving here, the schedule's set, you know what you're going to
Chaos in what sense?
in all the different noise around the golf course?
Because I've had 2 kids in 15 months, so compared to that, I don't know if what's happened around golf is comparable.
Well, in the golf department, then,
Okay.
do you feel like there's a sense of, I don't know if calm is the right word, or feeling of turning a new page where you kind of know where you stand at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know where we stand. There's still going to be players that choose to transition to LIV, is my guess. But for a lot of us, I think we see the direction the PGA Tour is going towards, right? I mean, they're making the necessary changes to adapt to the new age, and I think it's better for everybody.
All right. Yep.
What are you curious about this year? Most curious about? Not so much how you play, but in the whole arena of golf.
Curious?
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that. I mean, it's going to be a different year, right? There's a lot more highlights in the calendar year, I would say, for the PGA Tour, with all those elevated events. The one thing I keep going back to, and I know this is only probably funny to me, but I think that Masters Champions dinner is going to be a little tense compared to how it's been in the past.
Not just funny.
So that's I keep thinking about it because I wish I could be there and just be able to see how things work out. But too bad the U.S. Open doesn't have one of those. But yeah, I think it's an exciting year. Not that obviously we're all curious about how it's going to work out, but we're excited to see what this year's how it's gonna unfold and how it's gonna play out for everybody.
Two things though, Jon, if I could just kind of lead
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, go ahead.
And you touched on one of them already, but the majors are going to be the 4 events of the year where everybody probably comes together. How do you think the dynamics will be different, Champions Dinner notwithstanding?
I think it's gonna be the same. I mean, I didn't feel a difference in any of the majors last year.
Last 2 or so, yeah.
If somebody has a problem with LIV players, they're just not going to deal with them, and that's about it. In my mind, like I've said it before, I respect their choice, and the ones I was friends with before, I'm still going to be friends with, right? It's just it doesn't change the way I'm going to operate with them. So I think a lot of, let's say, animosity, if there's any, might be created more by you guys than anything else. I don't think there's that much of a problem between players, at least in person, because if there is, they can avoid each other.
Do you get any sense, you wouldn't know how to answer this probably since you're just doing your
Try
thing,
me.
but someone with LIV, a DJ or a Brooks or someone like that, I have to wonder if they wouldn't feel any more pressure representing a flag they're playing under, a league they're playing under, to perform at a major than they ordinarily would if it was not this way.
I mean, I don't know. I think you touched on 2 guys that I don't think really care much where they're playing.
Bad examples.
Yeah, so I don't think they'll be having extra pressure to be winning a major, depending where they play. I think, even though they're in teams, golf is an individual sport. So if they're playing majors, they're playing majors for themselves, not nobody else. That would be my guess.
And then Ryder Cup, how do you think that'll shake out?
I have no idea.
What do you hope happens?
What I hope Europe wins.
I know that.
That's about that. Listen, there's some people are going to have to make some tough choices, right? And a little bit of that is out of my reach. My guess is I hope the PGA of America and European Tour make a decision together. I don't think it would be smart to have one team allowing LIV players and one not to. And besides that, if they decide not to in that side, I think it's going to give it the opportunity for a lot of great young players to show up and have their chance in Europe, right? it's just going to be an opportunity for all of them. We saw a younger U.S. team last Ryder Cup, and they did what they did. So I'm hoping these younger guys who have grown up watching the Ryder Cup and seeing their idols do what they do. Let's say it energizes the team a little bit in a new manner, and we show up there to win.
One more quick, Dan, if you don't mind. On your note, that was your first losing Ryder Cup team.
Yes.
What was that like?
Not fun. Because even though it's funny, because I had complete opposite experiences, right? Paris, I didn't play good at all. I won 1 point, but we won the Ryder Cup, and then in Wesley Straits, I only lost 1 match. Played amazing golf all week, and we absolutely got decimated. So I have it's mixed feelings about each one, but yeah, I wouldn't know what to say. I mean, it sucks to lose. You don't want to lose. It's a team effort, right? No matter what you do. So. I would rather have a very bad personal record, but have a win every single time.
Did the losing feel worse than the winning felt good?
It's pretty equal. I mean, it didn't feel good, but let's be honest, it was pretty apparent early that loss was going to happen. So. Without saying anything bad about the team, I mean, we started with a disadvantage. I played bad the first 6 holes and saw a whole lot of red early on, so it was going to be tough to make that comeback. But it just doesn't feel good. You don't want to ever be on a golf course where everybody else is celebrating because you lost. It just doesn't feel good. Obviously, the winning feels really, really amazing. But I think as human beings, a lot of times we tend to focus a bit more on the negative by but on that level, I said they're equal.
All right, let's take the last one. Daniel?
Knowing you're a soccer fan, we haven't really had any time to talk to you since the World Cup. Just as an athlete, do you take inspiration from watching a game and a performance like that, specifically from Messi?
That final was incredible. I think I take more inspiration from Mbappe. I mean, he put the team in his back and tied a final that they had no business tying. Let's be honest. And Messi, I mean, I've been watching Messi play for so long that it's amazing that he can still surprise a lot of people, right? When the debate of greatest of all time is up in the air, he does what he did and carried Argentina to a World Cup final. It's not my business to decide who's the best or who's not, because I never saw Maradona play, but he's made a pretty good argument. And I don't know if we're going to see a final. I don't know if I'll see a final this good ever again in my lifetime. I have no idea. I hope I do, but I doubt it. The only way this could have been better if it was Messi and Ronaldo facing off, and they each had a hat trick and things like that. But Kylian being the next closest thing, because he's clearly the future of this sport.
All right, John.
Hoping Spain was on it, though. Jesus Christ, yeah. I mean, hoping, but.
You got to get a lot of good young players.
Yeah, I mean, Spain always has a really good, talented team, but they haven't been able to. Most people don't know we've made it to the semifinals twice. One time we won the World Cup, so it's a bit of the Spanish curse. Hoping that the next time we get to the semifinals, it's also a win.
John, as always, we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Best of luck this week.